Hello, I am so glad the sun is shining today. I think I'm getting tired of the cold and snow. All right, let's continue on in chapter 4. The days passed in a multitude of tasks that kept Mafatu busy from dawn till dark. His lean-to grew into a 3-sided house with bamboo walls and a thatch of palm leaves. The 4th wall was open to the breezes of the lagoon. It was a trim little house, and he was proud of it. A roll of woven mats lay on the floor. There was a shelf in the wall with 3 bowls cut from coconut shells. Bone fish hooks dangled from a peg. There was a coil of tough sennet many feet long. An extra pariu of tapa, waterproofed with gum of the artu tree for wet weather. All day long the wind played through the openings in the walls. At night, lizards scurried through the thatch with soft rustlings. One morning, wandering far down the beach, Mafatu came upon a sheltered cove. His heart gave a leap of joy, for there, white gleaming in the sun, was all that remained of the skeleton of a whale. It might not have meant very much to you or to me, but to Mafatu it meant knives and fish hooks galore, splintered bone for darts and spears, a shoulder blade for an axe. It was a veritable treasure. Here's a picture, can you see it? Of the whale skeleton that he found on the beach. The boy leaped up and down in his excitement. "Yuri," he shouted, "we're rich. Come, help me drag these bones home." His hands seemed all thumbs in his eagerness. He tied as many bones as he could manage into 2 bundles. One bundle he shouldered himself. The other bundle Yuri dragged behind him. And thus they returned to the campsite, weary but filled with elation. Even the dog seemed to have some understanding of what this discovery meant. Or if not, he was at least infected with his master's high spirits. He leaped about like a sportive puppy, yapping until he was hoarse. Now began the long process of grinding the knife and the axe. Hour after hour, squatting before a slab of basalt, Mafatu worked until his hands were raw and blistered, and sweat ran down into his eyes. The knife emerged first, since that was the most imperative. Its blade was 10 inches long. Its handle, a knob of a joint. It was sharp enough to cut the fronds of coconut trees, to slice off the end of a green nut. Aye, but it was a splendid knife. All Mafatu's skill went into it. It would be a fine weapon as well, the boy thought grimly, as he ground it down to a sharp point. Some sea robber had been breaking into his bamboo trap, and he was going to find out who the culprit was. Probably that old tiger shark who was always cruising around, just as if he owned the lagoon. Fishing with a line took too long when you were working against time. Mafatu could not afford to have his trap robbed. Twice it had been broken into, the stout bamboos crushed and the contents eaten. It was the work either of a shark or an octopus. That was certain. No other fish was strong enough to snap the tough bamboo. Mafatu's mouth was set in a grim line as he worked away on his knife. That old tiger shark, undoubtedly he was the thief. Mafatu had come to recognize him, for every day when the boy went out with his trap, that shark, larger than all the others, was circling around, larger than all the others. Was circling around, wary and watchful. The other sharks seemed to treat the tiger shark with deference. Hunger alone drove Mafatu out to the reef to set his trap. He knew that if he was to maintain strength to accomplish all that lay ahead, he must have fish to add to his diet of fruit. But often, as he set his trap far out by the barrier reef, the tiger shark would approach, roll over slightly in passing, and the cold gleam of its eye filled Mafatu with dread and anger. "Wait, you," the boy threatened darkly, shaking his fist at the nail. "Wait until I have my knife. You will not be so brave then, Nail. You will run away when you see it flash." Good night. Grandma loves you.